So I believe everybody has logged in, so we can begin. So good morning, everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome to the Built Heritage Committee meeting for January 17th, 2023. I'd like to call the members to order. This hybrid meeting is being facilitated through Zoom and is being held on the traditional territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, the original custodians of the unceded land in which the city of Ottawa is located. We extend our respect to all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people for their valuable past and present contributions to this land. It is a pleasure to welcome members, both new and returning, to the new full standing committee for Built Heritage. I believe the creation of this new standing committee demonstrates the city's collective will as a municipality to protect, promote, and preserve our city's built heritage. Bill 23 includes changes to the Ontario Heritage Act, which will require the city to be more agile to protect its heritage resources. The creation of this full Built Heritage Committee will help achieve this goal while simultaneously streamlining the city's legislative process by removing the need for additional approval through the Planning Committee. The creation of the new standing committee will also enhance its advocacy role. Most major municipalities in the province, including Toronto and Kingston, have had their respective heritage committees report directly to council for years. The creation of this new standing committee signals our intent to protect Ottawa's superb built heritage to maintain our special sense of place. Since this first meeting of the committee is being streamed live on the Ottawa City Council YouTube channel, I'd like to remind participants to please keep your microphones muted until I call on you to speak. For those participating here in the committee room, please use the microphone in front of you and keep your computer muted. I will provide each committee member with the opportunity to ask questions or comment on each item in the order in which they raise their hand in Zoom. For panelists, the raise hand option is found at the bottom of the participants list. For those calling in, please press *9 to raise your hand. The committee coordinator and I will be watching for those cues. Members are also reminded to submit any motions, visual supports, or declaration of interest in writing to the coordinator at their earliest opportunity. Although the deadlines have passed for residents to register to speak, to provide written submissions to this committee, residents may still make written submissions to council. All reports considered today will be submitted to Ottawa City Council on January 25th, 2023. If you have technical difficulties signing into the meeting, you can contact the committee coordinator by calling 613-580-2424 extension 27005. A reminder that if participants are having technical issues with their Zoom connection, they may call in using the backup telephone number provided by the coordinator. In terms of regrets, I have received regrets from member Conforti. Could the committee coordinator please call the roll? A reminder to members to unmute themselves when they're called.
Councillor Kelly.
Present.
Member Podolsky.
Present from Florida virtually.
Member Quinn.
Present.
Councillor Troster.
Here.
Member Conforti. Councillor Leeper.
Present.
Member Halsall.
Present.
Vice Chair Plant.
Ici.
Chair King.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you so much. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, are the minutes of Monday, October 3rd, 2022 confirmed?
Yes, carried.
Thank you. So our first item today is an application to alter 280 Thorold Road, a property designated under Part 5 of the Ontario Heritage Act, located in the Rideau Rockcliffe Park Heritage Conservation District. Can staff please provide an overview of this report?
Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Ashley Gotarba. I'm a heritage planner in the Heritage Planning Branch. Okay. That first application this morning is an application at 280 Thorold Road, located in the Rockcliffe Park Heritage Conservation District. The property is located on Thorold between Springfield Road and Montague Place, which provides 3 street frontages for the property. This wide lot features a 1.5-story house constructed around 1940. The house is clad in stone. Oh, sorry, I'll wait till the slides are up. Sorry, thank you. All right, so the house is clad in stone, stone and siding with a steeply pitched gable roof with dormers, a central entrance with classical detailing, and chimneys at either end of the house. There are extensions on both sides, the east and west, that are believed to be original to the house. A carport was added on the Springfield Road frontage in the 1960s. This is a grade 1 property within the Rockcliffe Park Hares Conservation District. Next slide. The application includes alterations to the house, an addition, a new garage, and new landscaping. Here on the site plan, you can see the retention of the house with addition wrapping around 2 sides of the house, 2 stories to the rear on the south, and 1 story on the west. These are noted in gray on the image on the screen. The existing garage off Springfield Road will be converted into living space, and a new garage will be constructed on Springfield. The design will complement the existing house in terms of massing, roof pitches, and window pattern, and the principal cladding will be wood. Next slide. Here are the front and rear elevations, the front being the top image and the rear being the lower image. I've highlighted the blue additions as seen from the front. Everything shown on the rear and the bottom image is new construction. The addition has been designed to imitate the style of the existing house while making it appear new and subordinate. This is achieved by keeping the height of the addition lower than the existing house and by creating a small break in the massing to separate the original house from the addition. The alterations proposed include the installation of a small porch on the front, the removal and replacement of the composite cladding found on the gable ends, and the replacement of the windows. The existing horizontal cladding is a composite material and will be replaced with wood clapboard. The windows are not original and will be replaced with new windows that match the existing in terms of style, dimension, and divisions. Next slide. Here are the side elevations for the east and west, so Montague and Springfield Road sides. Next slide. These are the renderings of the front of the house. The new addition is on the right. Sorry, next slide. Thank you. The new addition is on the right in the top image, and the lower image shows the new garage. The addition will be clad in wood to match the wood siding that we applied to the entire house where there is wood. Next slide, please. Here are views of the house. A pool is proposed for the Montague Place side of the property. The pool will be screened from view from plantings and from the pool house. Next slide. Here's some rear views of the addition. Next slide. Here's the proposed landscape plan, which will enhance the overall greenery of the property. 2 trees are recommended for approval, and many new plantings are proposed. A portion of the Springfield Road hedge will be removed to accommodate the new garage. The existing driveways will remain, and a semicircular driveway along Thorold Road will be narrowed slightly to allow for additional soft landscape. A pool is proposed for the side yard with a terrace and a pool house. This is seen in the left-hand image on the screen. The landscape plan also proposes architectural garden feature around the pool. This will all be screened from view from the public realm by the hedge and trees along Montague Place. Next slide. Heritage staff feel that the proposal complies with the HCD policies and guidelines and will have little impact on the character of the HCD. The addition will be of contemporary design, lower than the existing house, and use natural materials. The generous front yard and Thorold will be maintained and enhanced with new plantings. As part of this application, 2 trees will be removed. However, numerous new plantings are proposed on the property. Next slide. In terms of consultation, Heritage Ottawa and the Rockcliffe Park Residents Association were notified of the application, as were Councillor King, the ward councillor, and neighbors within 30 meters. Next slide. Staff then recommend approval of the application for the addition and alteration of the property and to issue a permit with a 2-year expiry date. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very detailed presentation. We did receive correspondence that was submitted to the clerk's office from David Fleming of Heritage Ottawa. I see David in the audience. He's also registered to speak if this but he's indicated that he does not need to speak if this item carries. So does the committee have any questions for staff on this item? And I don't see any raised hands. Do any of the members have any comments on this item? Seeing no comments, is the report carried? Carried. This report was submitted to Ottawa City Council on January 25th, 2023. The next item is an application to alter 187 Billings Avenue, a property designated under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. Can staff please provide an overview of this report?
Okay, so slides are up. All right, great. So this application is for alteration of Part 4 property at 187 Billings Avenue. Next slide, please. The property is located on Billings Avenue in the neighborhood of Alta Vista, between Alta Vista Drive and the Riverside Drive in the Rideau River. Next slide. The property known as the Charles Billings House was designated under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act in 2014. The Billings family were the first settlers in Gloucester Township and can be attributed to much of the development in the area. The house was constructed by Charles Billings, the youngest son of Bradish. His family lived here for generations. Architecturally, the house is a rare vernacular example of Ontario cottage style in Ottawa. The house is a wood frame constructed of hen-hewn and sawn timbers and features a symmetrical facade. The house is one of the earliest remaining buildings in Alta Vista, and the orientation of the building away from the street facing the Rideau River indicated that it was constructed in the early settlement of the area. Next slide. In 2015, the previous owner received a heritage permit to alter the Charles Billings house. The permit included the removal of a portion of the building and the construction of an addition at the rear of the property. The addition connects to the north end of the historic building by a single-story glazed entrance. The previous owner worked collaboratively with the city to conserve the heritage attributes of the property. I've just put some images of the heritage application, the renderings from that time on the screen. Next slide. The property was sold in 2018. In 2020, a notice was sent to the owner informing them that the designation bylaw was registered on the property's title. At the time of the designation in 2014, an error was made in the legal description, making the registration of the bylaw impossible. This was corrected in 2020. Next slide. In the summer of 2022, Heritage staff were made aware that changes were made to the property without permission under the Ontario Heritage Act. All of the wood shiplap cladding was removed and replaced with exterior insulation finish system, which is known as eaves. And all the wood window frames and brick chimney were also covered with eaves. All three of these are attributes identified in the Statement of Cultural Heritage Value. Next slide. The application today includes installation of new wood shiplap siding on top of the eaves, the removal of the raised window surrounds and reinstatement of the wood window frames, and the removal of the eaves from the brick chimney. In order to bring back the heritage attributes lost as a result of these previous interventions, heritage staff have suggested the remedial measures above. The cladding that was removed was not original, and therefore there is no concern with the loss of the actual historic shiplap. However, it had been replaced in accordance with the standards and guidelines for the conservation of historic places in Canada. The wood was removed last year and is no longer available for reinstatement. Since the eaves was applied directly to the brick, heritage staff have recommended a test patch be done to determine if the eaves can safely be removed without damaging the brick itself. Should the eaves come off successfully in the test, the entirety of the chimney will be revealed. If the testing determines that the brick will not be damaged through the removal of the eaves, then alternative solutions will be considered. This may result in the application of a brick veneer over the eaves. A recommendation is included in the staff report to provide this discretion. Once this work is completed, this will return the Charles Billings house to the state shown here on the right in 2020. Next slide. In 2015, during the construction and restoration of the Charles Billings house, it was uncovered that the original hand-hewn timbers were still present. While not designated, these were maintained and left exposed. The current owner has agreed to amend the designation bylaw to include the interior features of this house, being the timbers. Heritage staff strongly support this initiative as the visibility of the interior structure provides information about the construction method of the house and similar houses built during this period. Next slide. Given the complicated nature of this application and in light of the owner's willingness to continue to work with the city towards a resolution, staff have no objection to the approval of this application. While it does not completely meet the standards and guidelines for the conservation of historic places in Canada, the wood cladding and brick chimney are important elements that embody the Ontario cottage style of architecture. The obscured attributes will be reinstated and the interior timbers of the Charles Billings house will be protected by an updated bylaw. Sorry, next slide. I guess I forgot one. There we go. And so therefore staff recommend to approve the application to alter and to amend the designation bylaw with staff. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this subsequent presentation. I'd like to also thank staff for working very closely with the applicant to ensure that they're in compliance, which I think is very important. We did get correspondence submitted to the clerk's office once again by Heritage Ottawa. I see David is here, of course, and he has indicated he is on the speaker's list, but he's indicated that he does not need to speak if the item carries. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Seeing, oh, yes, Councillor Leeper.
There we go. Thank you very much. And so not being as familiar with the Heritage Act as I should be, and I'm good with the remedial measures that have been proposed, and obviously the building will be brought back to its proper state. Are there financial penalties in the act for owners who violate it or who do work that is not permitted?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are, and I would refer this to Ms. Enta to describe in detail, but there are no sort of like issue a ticket, here's your fine. There are charges available under the Act, but it is a lengthy process. Ms. Enta, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add to that.
Good morning, Chair. Committee.
I think we need, we can't hear you, unfortunately, so I think that we might need to make an adjustment in the committee room.
No worries at all. So my understanding then would be, should the city choose to prosecute, there are charges available, but that would be a decision the city would have to make to prosecute and pursue charges in court.
That's correct. So this doesn't preclude us from doing that.
Okay.
However, we generally try to work with property owners to come to an amicable solution.
Okay.
So that's what this represents in our opinion.
A collaborative owner has agreed to do the things they need to do, and so we're not going to pursue charges. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions to staff from the committee? Seeing none, do any of the members have any comments on this item generally? Seeing none, is the report carried? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. This report will be submitted to Ottawa City Council on January 25th, 2023. Our last item under this section is the application to alter 245 Sylvan Avenue, a property designated under Part 5 of the Ontario Heritage Act, located in the Rockcliffe Park Heritage Conservation District. Can staff please provide an overview of this report?
All right. The last application this morning is for an application at 245 Sylvan Avenue. The next slide, please. This property is located on the west side of Mackay Lake. The house was constructed facing the lake and accessed via the former Lansdowne Road, as now known as a dog walk. After the closure of Lansdowne Road, the functional front became Sylvan Avenue. Next slide. The left-hand image is a current functional front of the house, while the right image shows the original front, which featured a large fieldstone porch, which has since been replaced with a simple wooden structure. The grade towards Mackay Lake drops off dramatically, creating natural terraces leading down to the dog walk and further down to the lake. Next slide. The application includes a two-story addition to the south, alterations to the porch on the northeast and southeast facades, a below-grade addition on the northeast side of the property, integrating to the natural terracing of the property, and overall restoration of the building. A landscape plan is also proposed, which will enhance the overall greenery. Next slide. So the next few slides here I've put up with elevations showing on the left-hand side the existing conditions and on the right hand, the larger image of the proposal. The new two-story addition will comprise of a two-car garage with living space, living area behind, and a small second story above. In order to facilitate the new garage, an existing detached garage will be demolished. This new addition will be generally in the same location as the existing garage, however, it will extend towards the northeast and fill most of the side yard. The design of the addition balances traditional materials with modern detailing. A link comprising mainly of glass will connect the new addition to the existing house. This link will contain the new front entrance to the house and has been designed to be as narrow as possible so that the side bay window will continue to be exposed from the rear. The side of the property contains a small porch, which currently acts as the main entrance to the house. This will be rebuilt in a similar form, however, will be primarily glass and will add additional living space to the inside. Next slide. Since the house was originally accessed from the former Lansdowne Road, the principal entrance was on the northeast side of the house. Historically, the facade included a large fieldstone porch, however, was dismantled at some point and replaced with a simple wooden structure. This application seeks to reinstate the lost porch using the same stones as they were kept in the property for future use. The rebuilt porch will have the same form and dimensions as the original, however, will be enclosed in glass in order to create a livable area. A second addition is proposed below grade to the northeast of the house and is integrated into the natural slope of its property. The addition, accessed from the basement, will have views over the water as the property dramatically slips towards Mackay Lake. The addition will be a glazed wall framed with new field stone. The remainder of the space will be hidden below ground. Next slide. This is the side elevation showing the new addition, which extends in the side yard. Next slide. And the other side here, where you can see the addition poking out the front where the garage is on the right-hand side, and the addition with the glazing towards the lake. Next slide. And last, I included a cross-section of the new addition. Next slide. Here's some renderings of the Sylvan Avenue side showing the new addition with its copper roof, fieldstone cladding, and wood garage door. Restoration is planned for the entire building envelope. This will include repairing cracks in the fieldstone and stucco and repairs to the wooden windows. The asphalt shingles will be replaced with copper shingles. Next slide. So here we can see the new entrance here, which is the glass link, and provide a view through the building up to the water, and also views of that bay window, which will no longer be obscured. Next slide. Here's the view from the dog walk. You can see the addition below the terracing there, the glazing and the fieldstone around. Next slide. And lastly, another view from the dog walk from the other angle. You can see the addition off to the top left-hand side, and also the new plantings are shown in this rendering. This proposal complies to the HCD policies and guidelines and will have little impact on the character of the district. The additions will be of contemporary design, lower than the existing house, and use the same natural materials as the existing house. Furthermore, this application includes a large conservation scheme for the building, including the fieldstone, stucco, and windows, as well as the restoration of the lost fieldstone porch on the northeast facade shown here. Next slide. The landscape plan includes the removal of 2 trees and the planting of many new plantings. The existing landscape includes stone steps leading towards the dog walk. These 2 large ones will be removed and rebuilt in slightly different locations. The existing drive will be maintained, however, enlarged slightly and repaved in bonded gravel. The existing walkway will be removed and a new walkway will be created to line up with the new front door. Next slide. In terms of consultation, the Rockcliffe Park and Heritage Rockcliffe Park Residents Association and Heritage Ottawa were notified of the application to alter, as was Councillor King and neighbors within 30 meters. The next slide. Finally, recommend to approve the application to alter and issue a permit with a 2-year expiry date. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 3 for 3. So we really appreciate all the work that you've put in terms of the presentations today. Once again, we did receive correspondence from Heritage Ottawa on this item that was circulated to all members. David Fleming is also available on this file to speak if, and he has indicated he does not need to speak if the item carries. We also have the owner and the designer here as well. Are there any questions? And I don't see. Oh, sure. So does the committee have any questions for staff? And I see that Member Quinn has a question.
It was working. There we go. Yes, just a clarification. The entrance, is it now going to be in the new construction that links the garage to the main house? Is that now the official main entrance?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct. The new addition will have that glass link, which will be the new front door.
So the original entrance and the detailing, was that in any way identified as as a character defining element?
For clarification, the original entrance being the dog walk, the Sylvan side, sorry, the Sylvan side of the dog walk side.
The Sylvan side.
Sylvan side.
Yeah.
It's a very small porch at the moment. And that would be enclosed, rebuilt as a glass, I think it's solarium actually, for indoor.
So it's not an entrance at all anymore?
It won't be an entrance anymore.
No. Right. That's my only sense of this house seems to have lost a sense of arrival where it welcomes and greets. That's my my only comment about that that loss of, and maybe it's just in how the rendering appears as well. You know, I mean, we're kind of limited in what we can see. But if you're satisfied with that, that little atrium is sort of tipping their hat to the fact that this was at one time the entrance, but the actual designation did not identify that. I'm terribly sorry. It did not identify that as a character defining element. I just wanted to be clear if that just.
The current front door, which is the Sylvan entrance, is actually functional, was a back door of the house, and was a little porch just for access to the Sylvan Road, or Avenue rather. And that would be lost in this application as a usable space as a porch and an entrance to the property. Staff are satisfied that this new entrance proposed in the link is appropriate and complies to the ACD guidelines.
Thank you. I just wanted that clarification on record there. Thank you.
Excellent. So are there any other questions for staff? Seeing none, do any of the members have any other comments on this item? And I don't see any hands. So is the report carried?
Carried.
Carried.
Yes, carried.
Thank you. This report will be submitted to Ottawa City Council on January 25th, 2023. The next item is an item from the Office of the City Clerk, and it is the Built Heritage Committee Terms of Reference. Of course, we have to have a set of rules and guidelines that lead us forward in terms of this term. These terms of reference, of course, have been approved by council. There is no presentation on this item. It was circulated for review. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Seeing none, do any of the members have any comments on this item generally? And I don't see any hands raised. So is the report carried? Carried. Thank you.
Carried.
We do have an additional item. Under other business, there is an urgent matter to be added to the agenda. The committee is asked to formally add this item to the agenda. Can the vice chair please introduce the motion?
Sorry, I'm having some technical problems. Sorry about that. Moved motion from Vice Chair Plant. The rules that the rules of procedure be waived to consider the matter below at the January 7th, 2023 meeting of Built Heritage Committee. Whereas changes to the Ontario Heritage Act made through Bill 23 Build Faster Act came into effect January 1st, 2023. And whereas these changes mean that council cannot issue a notice of intention to designate a property subject to a prescribed event if that property is not already included on a municipal register. And whereas the Campanile Complex Federal Study Center, 1495 Heron Road, is not listed on the city's heritage register because of its former ownership by the federal government. And whereas the current property owner, Canada Lands Corporation, CLC, is expected to submit applications under the Planning Act at the end of the month. And whereas CLC has been working with staff on a conservation approach for the redevelopment of the property and is aware of the city's intention to designate the property concurrently with the associated Planning Act applications. And whereas the Ontario Heritage Act requires that non-designated properties included on a municipal register must meet one or more of the criteria outlined in Ontario Regulation 0906, and staff have determined that 1495 Heron Road is an outstanding example of a modernist educational campus holding direct associations with the Sœurs de la Congrégation de Notre-Dame and prominent Ottawa architects Tim Murray, therefore satisfying more than one of the criteria. Therefore, be it resolved that Built Heritage Committee recommend that council list 1495 Heron Road on the City of Ottawa's Heritage Register under Section 27, 1.2 of the Ontario Heritage Act.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Plante, for introducing that motion. Can staff please provide an overview of this report?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. My name is Luis Juarez, and today I'll be giving a quick presentation on this motion. So I'll start with a bit of context on the property, and then I'll discuss the purpose of the motion. Next slide, please. So 1495 Heron Road is located in Ward 18 in the Alta Vista neighborhood. It's a modernist educational campus constructed in 1964 and designed by prominent Ottawa architect Tim Murray for Les Sœurs de la Congrégation de Notre-Dame. The campus consists of 12 interconnected pavilions, inclusive of a chapel, a gym, and a theater that are carefully arranged around 4 courtyards. The campus was eventually sold to the federal government in 1974 and converted into the Federal Study Center. And in 2005, the Federal Heritage Buildings Review Office, or FHBRO, designated the property as a recognized heritage site for its architectural value and its historical associations. In 2013, however, the property was declared surplus and sold it to the Canada Lands Corporation, who is the current owner. And at this time, the federal heritage designations were stripped of the property. Next slide, please. So in 2021, CLC began a public engagement process to help inform a preferred development concept to redevelop the lands, and heritage planning staff were involved early in this process, and the concept was presented to the public in 2022. So within the concept, there's a conservation approach that includes the designation of the property, the adaptive reuse of 9 of the 12 buildings, and the retention of several of the landscape features, including the courtyards and the Campanile Tower. Next slide, please. To facilitate this redevelopment, the Canada Lands Corporation will be submitting a draft plan of subdivision and a zoning amendment application at the end of this month. And once those applications are deemed complete, it will trigger a prescribed event on the property. So as many of you know, there were changes to the Ontario Heritage Act that came into effect on January 1st as a result of Bill 23, the More Homes Built Fast Act. And one of those changes is that if a prescribed event occurs on the property, council cannot issue a notice of intent to designate a property under the Heritage Act if that property is not already listed on the city's heritage register. So as such, 1495 Heron Road will need to be added onto the register before the associated Planning Act applications are deemed complete. And this would allow staff to work on a property's designation through the redevelopment process as intended. Another one of the changes that occurred to the Heritage Act is the requirement for non-designated properties to meet one or more of the criteria outlined in Ontario Regulation 0906 to be added to the register. And through review, staff have determined that 1495 Heron Road, as outlined in the motion, is an outstanding example of a modernist educational campus that holds direct associations with Les Sœurs de la Congrégation de Notre-Dame and prominent Ottawa architect Tim Murray, thereby satisfying at least more than one of the criteria. Next slide, please. So in terms of process and next steps, if carried, the motion before us will allow the property to be added onto the Heritage Register. And this will then allow staff to work through the designation process concurrently with the review of the Planning Act applications. And then lastly, I'll just add that CLC is aware of the motion and supports the designation of the property. Next slide, please. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you so much for that presentation. We haven't received any correspondence, most likely because of the late date of this item coming to committee, but we do have a registered speaker with David Fleming once again, only needed if he's not going to appear if the item carries. So does the committee have any questions for staff? Yes, Councillor Troster.
Hi, thanks so much. This application seems entirely fine to me. My question is, I imagine the rush will be on in all of our wards now that Bill 23 has come into effect. And I'm just wondering if staff will be providing us with any red flags or information about properties that we really do need to designate as soon as possible because of Bill 23. I know we've already heard from the Centertown Community Association in Somerset Ward, but I just wanted to flag that because I certainly don't want to miss the opportunity to ensure that those properties are protected because of this new legislation and the rush that it puts on for us. I can speak to that through you, Mr. Chair. I think that is obviously something that we're very concerned about as well. We have about 4,600 properties listed on our register right now across the city. And so one of the things that my branch will be undertaking in the next few months is going to be figuring out what to do with all of those. So our intention is to bring forward a presentation to this committee probably in March on sort of the changes to the Act and the implications for the Heritage Program. And then in another few months, a report with a full strategy about what we intend to do and how we intend to go about it. But yes, there's a lot of work ahead of us in terms of kind of reconfiguring how our Heritage Program works. Because that 2-year timeline imposed by the province is now ticking as of January 1st. So I guess to answer your question, stay tuned. Thank you. And thank you in advance for all this extra work it's going to take because of this legislation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that question. I see that member Hassel has raised her hand.
Yeah, I'm like Councillor Troster. I'm very supportive of this application, but on a planning side, my understanding is that Crown corporations often aren't bound by the Ontario Planning Act. So would staff be able to comment on the functionality of this designation?
Through you, Chair, thank you. So when the property was sold to the Canada Lands Corporation in 2013, it's my understanding that the provincial legislation was then in effect for the property. So in terms of the heritage designation itself, it will be applicable to the lands.
And perhaps, Mr. Chair, if I can add, I think the other piece of this is we have other experiences with CLC over the years. The Booth Street Complex, which was designated during the last term of council, was a similar project where it came out of the federal inventory, was sold to CLC, and they proposed a major redevelopment of the site, and we worked with them on a heritage designation going forward. I think that we will follow the same process. I think that was a kind of a model process and worked quite well. So.
Excellent.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for that question. And I see that member Podolsky has also raised his hand.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor King. And like others, I support the initiative that staff are taking here, recommending to council. The one thing that I would like to ask staff is, given the concern that member also has raised, and that is that would you also be working with Canada Lands Company to ensure that when they offer parcels of land for redevelopment, including those that are meant for conservation, that you obtain Canada Lands Company agreement to put an easement on any offers that would require developers to respect the heritage designation and proceed with a adaptive reuse of these buildings, rather than later on coming back and saying that it's not economically viable to do the adaptive reuse and then make a submission for demolition. And I think that this could be headed off if you obtain Canada Lands Company's agreement to make conservation a condition of any offers that they receive from the private sector. So if you would consider including that in the negotiations, I think that would help secure the city's intention to have this campus conserved. Thank you.
Through you, Chair. Thank you, Member Podolsky. We are still early in the process. We are exploring all of the different tools provided to us through the Ontario Heritage Act, including easements. So it's a discussion that we'll continue to have with the applicant. And then we'll note as well that the designation will be registered on the title of the property, and we'll ensure that this occurs before the property is sold to other landowners.
Thank you so much. If there are no other questions from Member Podolsky, then Vice Chair. Yep. That's what I was going to. And unfortunately, we do have a new Vice Chair, and that's Vice Chair Plante. So I will throw it to her.
Oui, merci beaucoup. J'ai juste une question vite pour le staff. Je peux me répéter en anglais si c'est problématique. Moi, je voulais savoir, vous venez juste de parler des timelines qu'il faut un peu se dépêcher pour la désignation, surtout dans le contexte du nouveau projet de loi 23. I was wondering if maybe we can just make a note right now to have a chat with myself and my staff, because I know there was a lot of heritage questions coming about for the 200th anniversary of the Byward Market. And I wanted to make sure that we can get on those as soon as possible, given the time constraints that you just outlined previously. Yeah, I would really, really appreciate that. Merci.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We can definitely have a conversation with you and your staff about issues in your ward.
Merci, I appreciate it.
And I also appreciate that. I know that Heritage staff is very responsive to the needs of not just members of this committee, but also to all members of council. And I know that there will be ongoing discussions with the new council members of this committee. So I really do appreciate the work that staff undertakes there. Do any of the members have any other comments on this item? Seeing none, is the report carried? Carried. Thank you.
Yes, carried.
Thank you. In terms of in-camera items, we have none. We have no notices of motions. We have no inquiries, but we do have other business. And under other business, there is one planning circulation on the agenda. I believe that is a zoning bylaw amendment and site plan control for 230 and 232 Lisgar Street, which was distributed to members prior to the meeting. Members of the public have the opportunity to comment through DevApps on ottawa.ca, and the Ontario Heritage Act applications would be considered at a later date. Is there any other business? Seeing none, I'd like to take. Oh, sorry, I did not see your hand, Member Podolsky.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. I just wanted to advise the committee that I won't be reapplying to join the Built Heritage Committee in the next term. Having served 2 terms, I think it is time for others to apply to join the committee before the deadline of January 23rd. And I would just like to use this opportunity, if I might, to urge qualified members of the public that have heritage experience to apply for the the position on that might be available since I'm not returning. And so I wish them very well. And this is not a farewell speech. I just want to advise those members of the public that it's important that experienced people with heritage experience do come on this committee, and hoping that there will be some very good candidates for city to appoint. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Barry, for your service. And I'd like to echo those comments. I think you beat me to the punch. I was also going to say, I really do want to take the opportunity to sincerely thank all public members and both former and current council colleagues who served on the Heritage Subcommittee during the last council term. Your knowledge, expertise, foresight, and diligence that you brought to your roles benefited this committee and our city, and we're truly grateful. I'd also like to remind the community, not unlike Barry, that applications to serve on this committee are still open until Monday, January 23rd, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. And information on how to apply is available on the city's website at ottawa.ca. For all the members, current and former, and who are here presently, thank you for the work that you have done and the work that you will continue to do on this new full standing committee of council. On adjournment, is the motion carried? Excellent. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. The next meeting is scheduled on Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. Thank you.